What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is January 5th of 2018. Well, folks, today I want to spend some time to talk about the recent altcoin rally in cryptocurrency markets, and along with that as well, talk about how I think we're going to be hitting a new market cycle that still will lead us to new highs. I'll explain that here in just a moment. But along with that as well, I want to go ahead and give you all a little bit of a notice ahead of time. My nose is a little bit stuffed up from all the winter weather, so I do apologize if I sound a little bit stuffed up while I talk. But nonetheless, hopefully I'll be able to get out things short, sweet, and to the point. So, in regards to the recent altcoin rally, things have gotten ridiculous, guys. It has been continuously day by day by day by day that we can look here on the 24-hour and see coins up double digits. It's still going. There is definitely, I think, a little bit more on the red side of things in regards to a lot of the larger players. However, nonetheless, even with this, even though we have Stellar and Cardano taking some heat, as well as players like Steam and a few others, we're still getting some plays that are going up double digits. We have Bitcoin coming up here to a $2 billion valuation, and Binance Coin passing $1 billion as well. So there's just a lot of, still a lot of green in this market, even though we're remaining relatively flat in valuation. However, this is really what I want to talk about today, because I know many of you out there have been, trying to stay back from FOMOing into the market and buying into things. And, when things are 5, 10, 15, or 20 times the original Bitcoin comparative than they were a few weeks ago or a month ago. A lot of people are really trying to resist the urge of buying into those highs, because I know many of you out there are applying those strategies that we've talked about here on the channel to avoid buying at highs. And I think that's very important that you're doing that, because you do not want to get into something emotionally. And along with that as well, I want to talk about how I genuinely think that we are starting to see the transition from altcoins to Bitcoin. Now, don't panic. Don't feel like you got to sell your position. One guy, you remember, just keep that in mind. However, that doesn't mean I'm selling all my altcoin positions. In fact, I have a lot of long-term positions, and we're going to talk about that throughout the video and how I'm still relatively optimistic on a few projects in the altcoin space. The main thing I want to talk about today is how over the past few weeks, really over the past 2 weeks, we have got an exuberant run-up in altcoins. It has been a phenomenal rally. There has been so much gained in such little time, and I think this even outweighs what we saw back in April, May, and June in crypto markets. I genuinely believe that, and you see it when you see the double-digit gains on cryptocurrencies. And now cryptocurrencies, unlike back in April, May, and June, where they were stepping into the $1 million rank, we see crypto stepping into the $1 billion rank. We see Ripple, going into triple-digit billion-dollar valuations, Ethereum touching $100 billion, along with $1,000 per Ethereum. It's just been an absolute crazy rally. Cardano coming out of the shadows and now being a $25 billion cryptocurrency, even after a pullback. So, there's just been some crazy run-ups in this market. But I do want to go ahead, before I go ahead and rant and rave and stuff about what I think has really propped up this market and what I think is about to come, I do want to take a look at the data here. So we can obviously see we've gone parabolic in valuation, and I still think we're steadfast towards $1 trillion. However, that $1 trillion in valuation does not have to come from where it's been coming from for the past few weeks, which is altcoins, which, might I add, has recently reached $500 billion in valuation. It's quite crazy. So $500 billion is quite steady for altcoins here. And as you can see, we're starting to move sideways for the first time after this entire run-up here. So this might be indicating that, as we take a look here at the dominance, as much as we were looking for a target of 25%, and we only got up to around 22.5 or 23%. I got right there, 23%. We might be turning the tide here, and Bitcoin might be taking back the lead. We have to keep an open mind to it. I was hoping we'd get the nice round even at 25%, but maybe I got to stop thinking in evens. It's too primitive of me to do that in these markets. I have to think outside the evens and think a little bit ahead of the game here. Bitcoin has not gained too much dominance back, but it could easily gain back a lot of dominance, folks. Keep in mind that the long-term target is that Bitcoin, in my mind, is going to hold 20 to 25%. But markets move in cycles. Things don't happen overnight. And this whole loss of dominance in the market for Bitcoin has been a process. It has taken over a year to drop from 84% down to 35% where it's at now. And because of that, it's very important to understand that not only things don't happen overnight, but that our long-term objectives take time, and it's going to take multiple market cycles to do this. For example, we had the previous altcoin rally back here through March, April, May, June, and then we had a very short-term one here through the month of December into early January. So things happen at different paces. They take time. However, even though we haven't reached our 25% mark and stuff for other coins, I have an overall objective that other factor is going to go to 50% in the long term, and Bitcoin's going to go down to 25%, and the other top 9 coins will take the other 25%. Somewhere around that ballpark. Won't be exactly that, but I think it'll be around there. However, we have made a long stride. We've pushed back down below the lows here at 37% from the previous rally, and it might be time for Bitcoin to move up a little bit, for Bitcoin to gain some steam. And honestly, I don't have a problem in seeing that happen. First and foremost, Bitcoin held strong 6 days on the 50 EMA right here. So we can see from our TEMA indicator, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times Bitcoin held on the moving average. And now it's testing towards one of the 2 scenarios we talked about in my Bitcoin correction video, where I said either it's going to collapse through here, and if it does, if it has a steady close below the 50-day, wait till 10K. It didn't want to do that, and it had already held pretty strong with all this altcoin buying. And now it's coming back up, and it's testing this level here. If you see this past 16,500, you're going to see a very, very big flush in altcoins. I'm just going to say that right now. Now, that being said, what are the altcoins that are going to get flushed? Is it going to be all the coins that went double or triple their value? Well, some of them, yes, but it's going to be more than anything the coins that have gone up 10 to 15 to 20 to 40 or even 50 times their Bitcoin comparative. What are those cryptocurrencies? Well, talk about coins like Ripple. Talk about coins like Cardano, for example. Love the project. A little overvalued, in my opinion. Right now, they just have a wallet out for now, and it's trading off of philosophy. Neem. I don't know anyone who uses Neem personally. I would love to figure out some of you out there who have Neem in your portfolio, because I've still yet to meet anyone who uses Neem, and I can tell the trading volume is really not even there. But Tron and Stellar are 2 prime examples I want to talk about here. Now, it's not to say that they're not good long-term candidates, not turning that away, but take a look at where Tron has gone over the past few weeks. Okay, this is a not too long ago ICO that launched in back in I think over the summer. Yeah, it was back in early September. That has really just taken off over the past month. As we've seen this go through December, back here in early December, this was a $200 million cryptocurrency, and now is trading at $12.3 billion. The Satoshi comparative went from 20 Satoshis all the way up at its peak up to around 2,000. That's ridiculous. That's 100 times comparative to Bitcoin. Again, we have to have a sense of rationality, guys. And this is, if you're wondering what really led Tron to run up, the biggest thing that's keeping it up right now is the supposed fact that they've got a partnership that they're going to be launching. And even if it's with a company like a lot of people are assuming it is, like Alibaba, which would be big. It's a big Chinese e-commerce giant. It's one of the largest tech companies in China. Even if that happens, it's not going to justify this valuation in my mind. And, you know, again, that's my opinion, but take it from someone who's traded in traditional markets and understands how to kind of generally value a cryptocurrency and a partnership like that. A partnership is not worth $12.3 billion or the $12 billion that it's gained over these past few months. And there might be other things for Tron that I don't know about, so I'm not going to rant and rave on it specifically. But you get what I mean by it, guys. There is a lot of cryptocurrencies in this market that have gone up multitudes higher of its previous valuation. And we need to keep in mind that some of these valuations are not justified in this market. And it's not just the billion-dollar coins. It can be a lot of these multi-million-dollar ones as well that have gone up 5 or 10 times their Bitcoin comparative. So that's the thing to keep in mind. The market is going to flush out the valuation of those because the people who bought in early, For example, if we take a look here at Ripple's chart, the people who bought all those volume stacks, look at the candles down here if you want to know what I'm talking about, these volume stacks, they can easily start dumping their holdings up here, and it will prop the price way downward. And the reason being is because look at how much thinner the volume is. You have these volume candles that were up here, whereas you have a lot down here that are much in a smaller area because they're paying a higher premium for the price. They're buying people's bags who bought down here. They were on the right side of things. And this is what I want to talk about, kind of segueing into the topic of cycles. I know I've kind of been ranting, raving, and stuff on a lot of the market leaders. You do not buy at all-time highs because you're buying in when a cycle is ending. This is when you want to look for Bitcoin. You want to look for the other side of things. You're hoping to sell a lot of your altcoin positions, hopefully, because altcoins have gone from all the way down here, like Ripple, when it was at 14,000 Satoshis and no one was talking about it. And now it's up here at 15,000. That's 10 times. And before that, it was much higher. However, again, it's thinking 2 steps ahead. That's one of my biggest trading tips that I mentioned in my oldest video. Buy when no one's talking about it. Buy when there's fear in the streets. Buy when Ripple's just going down and down and down and down. You don't want to buy when everyone's talking about it. And that's the biggest mistake that people make in finance. They buy when there's hype. They buy when there's absolute exuberance in the market. My favorite term, exuberance. But I mean, again, it's you know, what side do you want to be on? Do you want to buy something at a 50 or 80% discount, or do you want to buy something when everyone's swarming over you on Black Friday to get something? Well, it might be at a discount on Black Friday, but you get what I mean. You don't want to buy something when everyone else wants to get into it. Buy it when no one's talking about it. And then when everyone's talking about it and the value is going up and everyone's like, oh, I want this thing, you can sell it at a premium, make a ton of money if that's your objective or comparative to Bitcoin, whatever it is. So, again, not saying that altcoins are just going to flush out. There is going to be a flushing or a flushioning, if you want to call it, of these overvalued players in the market that have gone up multitudes higher of their original valuation. But along with that, you have opportunity for some of that capital to not only flow into Bitcoin, which will push Bitcoin's price, in my opinion, back up to 20,000 if we get above that $16,500 level on U.S. exchanges. But along with that as well, it's going to flush into a lot of good long-term altcoins that have still yet to receive any either their true valuation or the true opportunity behind what that project can offer. So again, what are those projects? Well, it's all dependent on what you want, guys. I'm not going to sit here and list out the top 5 coins, you know, things like that. I've already talked to you about some undervalued projects that I really liked in my previous video. And again, I want you all to do your research on these things. You know what projects in your mind are undervalued. And if your project that you like hasn't gone up 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 times its valuation, then that might be a great opportunity for you to possibly get in for the long term. Now, if it has gone up that much, you have to ask yourself, is it still worth that much? Or is it worth the risk to reward ratio of your investment? Because you can believe in it all you want. That's good. But you're putting your money on the table. Are you willing to lose money? And that's the kind of questions you have to ask yourself. I can't sit here and consult for you guys. I'm not a financial advisor. However, I know many of you are curious about my long-term positions, and you're curious as to whether or not what I'm selling in regards to my altcoins and everything. And though I can't sit here and tell you guys everything that I do, I will let you all know that I've gotten rid of most of my swing trade positions. You know, I'm not playing around with the market anymore. I'm not trading, and I'm going more towards my safe positions. I bulked up on my Bitcoin position, seeing as I sold my swing trades and some other things that I wanted to kind of hedge off and go more towards Bitcoin. And I definitely bulked up on my Bitcoin position. I locked in profits. I wasn't greedy. I'm not trying to continuously trade this market because I know eventually a lot of these altcoins are going to correct. And along with that as well, I'm holding on to my long-term positions. And keep in mind, the term itself says it, it says it all. It's a long-term position, so I'm not going to be really selling these. Now, sometimes I'll take partial profits on long-term positions if it's just been a crazy rally. And I'll talk about a few positions that I'm still either optimistic on or holding. And the first one that I know many of you have heard me talk about is Icon, for example. Still think this is undervalued comparative to players like Neo, EOS, IOTA, Stellar, Tron, and a lot of other market leaders. So Icon is still one that I'm bullish on. And then along with that as well, you all know that I've got a long-term position and I'm optimistic on Substratum. This one has still been moving up quite well in this market. And again, I think with the January launch, we've got something to look forward to. With that being said, I still think it's a very good long-term position way past January, and I think it's something that I'm going to keep on holding for a while. Along with that as well, I know that when it launches on Binance, I'm going to be getting, even though it's gone on quite a nice run up, I'm going to be buying some Ray blocks. You all know that I was very optimistic about it, and I want to put my money where my mouth is. I believe in the project. However, I'm not going to open up a big Grail account for it. I have way too many exchange accounts. So again, you guys know what I'm long-term on. I'm very transparent with you all. I want to be as transparent as possible with you. However, again, you've got to find the projects you want for yourself. You've got to define what industries you want to invest in, what competition is in those industries, and what players stand out. It's all up to you. It's determined by you. And you can trust me. I will say it once and I'll say it twice, guys. You know what's best for you. You know how to assess your risk to reward profile. And if you don't, I highly recommend going back and watching some of my videos. I've talked about it from time to time. It's really just asking whether or not the price you're paying is what you're like, what risk you're willing to take. What are you looking to get reward out of it in the sense of a return, so going to the upside, and also in regards to when you're going to sell it if it goes down, where you're going to sell it in regards to price. What's your risk to reward? Your reward being the profit, or the risk being what you could lose. And you can easily do that. It's quite simple. It's simple math. But anyways, everyone, that's it for the video. I know I kind of ranted and raved. It's not a very well organized video, to be fair, and not to mention I'm definitely a little bit stuffed up. But the main objective in a too long did not read format that you, please, if you'd like, you could put down in the comments, is to not be buying into positions that are up 30, 40, or 50 times their valuation, and finding the hidden gems, the ones lingering in the shadows. There's so many altcoins out there that actually do offer good tech that people still don't know about and are still hanging in the double-digit or triple-digit million-dollar valuations that could be billion-dollar coins or could be in the top 10 or 15 or 20 coins. You can find those projects, but you got to do your due diligence and you got to do some fundamental research, just like I do here on the channel, and I'll try to bring those projects to your attention as often as I can. But again, I'm one person, so sometimes you're going to have to put in some time for that, or maybe get a group of people together and you guys can go out and break down a ton of white papers. You find something interesting, mingle with one another. We're a community and we're stronger together as a community rather than as individuals. All right, everyone. Anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, or anything you'd like to talk about in regards to what we covered in the video, please leave it down in the comments down below and I'll try to get to it or have someone in the community get to it. All right. Anyways, everyone, take care. I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay warm if you're in a cold area, and I'll see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.